What's up, guys? Today we're in Motor Trend's Truck of the Year for 2019 and 2020, talking about the Ram 1500. Today we're in the LARAMIE edition with the 5.7-liter Hemi engine and the 8-speed automatic transmission. At first, I'm not gonna lie, I work at a Ford dealer, but I wouldn't say I'm like a diehard Ford fan. But when I heard that Ram, was the Truck of the Year 2 years in a row, I was really surprised. But then once I got inside this truck and saw how fantastic this interior was, then I realized this is why. Because of this interior, this giant touchscreen, the leather seats with the suede inserts are heated and cooled. The interior of this truck is far better than anything I've ever seen on any truck. Now, the Tundra and the F-150 are due for redesigns in 2021, so I'm sure they're really going to step their game up to try to compare to this interior, because I'm fairly certain this is why this truck is the 2019 Truck of the Year. So today we're going to do a POV drive. We're going to do a walk around of the interior and exterior. We're going to put the truck up on the rack, check out the undercarriage like I try to do in all my videos. So it should be a pretty complete review of this Dodge Ram LARAMIE. Stay tuned. Here's a look at the key fob and a quick startup. Before we start to walk around, I have to make one quick correction. The Dodge Ram Heavy Duty was the 2020 Truck of the Year, not the 1500. The 1500 was only the Truck of the Year in 2019. The Ram is pretty much unchanged for 2020. This one is finished in white ivory tri-coat, which is a $500 option. It also features a sport appearance package, which gives it the white grille and white bumpers, which I really like. Not a huge fan of these side steps. They kind of look like they shouldn't be there, but I do like how they extend past the doors so you can reach up into the bed. This one is also equipped with a 22-inch wheel option. Coming around the back, you can see the rear bumper is also color-coded. This Ram features a dual exhaust and a trailer hitch. I was surprised there was nothing real fancy going on with the tailgate, because that seems to be the latest craze in trucks, is making overly complicated tailgates, but this one is power. But there's also nothing in the bed, such as lights or like a track system to mount things. It's pretty plain, but it does have a spray and bed liner, which is nice. You can see it's got the power sliding rear window as well. It does have LED lights front and rear, which is a nice touch. Again, the side steps, they just don't fit the look of this truck. I do like the bulge in the hood though, it's pretty sporty looking. Back around to the front, you can see the LED headlights. This Ram does have a bunch of options, and it stickers at $60,635. Now let's check out the highlight of the truck, the interior. Door panels are super nice. They have a suede insert, some piano black trim, leather, and aluminum. This truck has a 19-speaker Harman Kardon sound system. Here's all your power switches and 2 cup holders. This truck has an electronic parking brake, power adjustable pedals. Here's a look at the headlamp switch. Here you can see the gauge cluster and the wiper switch. The steering wheel is leather wrapped and heated. The steering wheel has all your typical switches on it, and the radio switches are on the back side. Here's a look at the 4x4 switches and the shifter knob and the push button start. This truck features the upgraded 12-inch touchscreen, which is awesome. Here's a look at the center console. It is adjustable. Lots of space in there. Armrest also opens for more storage and a USB port. I actually found this by accident. On the bottom of the lid, there's a bunch of useful information. Onto the passenger side, there's an upper compartment and a glove box. Tons of storage in this truck. I really like the seats with the suede inserts. They are also heated and cooled. Here's a look at the sun visors with the HomeLink switches. We have an SOS switch and some map lights here. Like I said before, this does have a power slider, and you can open the tailgate from inside the truck. No moonroof on this truck. That would be another $1,400 option. This does have power seats on both sides. Here's a look at the passenger compartment. As you can see, this seat is power as well. The jack is actually under the passenger seat. Here's a look at the glove box and the upper compartment. Nice grab handle here to get in, and that's it for the look of the interior. Here's a look at the 5.7 liter Hemi. Puts out 395 horsepower and 410 foot-pounds of torque. See, the battery is easily accessible, as well as the powertrain control unit. Here's the brake booster, the oil dipstick. The alternator is right on top, so that's easy to get to. Let's look at the oil fill cap, throttle body, air intake tube. See, the air box is easy to get to, but it is screwed together, which is kind of a pain in the butt. Here's the AC lines. Back over to the engine cover. And that's it for under the hood. Alright, so here we go in the Ram. You see it's got the digital speedometer. Most of the stuff in the center there is all digital. Temperature gauge, the mileage, the gear selector, the temperature gauge and stuff. That's all digital. The exterior, the outside gauges are all analog, which is nice. Everything's easy to read, super clear. It's got a bunch of buttons here on the steering wheel for the cruise control and the Bluetooth. The radio buttons actually are on the backs of the steering wheel. You can't really see them, they're kind of hidden. And it's got these shifter controls right here, which is kind of weird. You know, it doesn't have paddle shifters or on a stock, but like I said, this doesn't have a stock. It just has the rotary knob, and then you've got the four-wheel drive controls down here as well. But the radio, you know, infotainment screen is massive, which is cool, but it's kind of weird because they don't really want you to be distracted while you're driving. And this is kind of a distraction because it's so big. It's cool looking, like you want to look at it. So you look at the radio, awesome, you know, super vibrant colors and everything. And then we got the climate controls on there as well. You know, super easy to read, but you have to push buttons, you know, to open them. And then we got the seat controls, which is kind of weird because the seat controls I feel should be in the same area as the climate controls, so you don't have to push quite as many buttons. But it does have a heated steering wheel as well. It's got the heated and cooled seats, which I really like. I've said this in multiple videos. Cooled seats are my favorite of all options. So we're going to make this right turn here. We're going to go up a hill. We'll get on the gas a little bit, see how the 5.7 responds, see how the transmission shifts, and then we're going to take it back to the dealership and put it up on the rack. All right, let's hit it. That wasn't terrible. Not super impressive, but plenty of power for merging onto traffic and things like that. See if we can see what kind of fuel economy we're getting right now. Alright, so right now we're only averaging 9.9 miles per gallon. Once we get down the hill and back to the dealership, I'm sure that'll go up. We got the trailer brake controller here, which is nice. You know, all the buttons are easy to see right here. No moonroof on this guy. I figured the LARAMIE at 60 grand would have a moonroof, but I'm not a huge fan of moonroofs, so I'm not, you know, like I said, not that disappointed in the fact that we don't have a moonroof. And this does not have the massive trailer tow mirrors that people like to flip out on the Rams when they're not towing, so I like that as well. But what I did notice about this truck is it doesn't really have any of the latest safety features, which I was surprised for 19. It doesn't have like the laser sensing cruise control or anything like that. It doesn't seem to have any kind of active braking system. I don't see any sensors for that, but I believe it does have the blind spot monitoring in the mirrors, but it doesn't have like lane keeping assist, which, like I said, I was kind of surprised because this was the truck of the year in 19, and I know other vehicles had those options. Now I don't know if you got a higher end Ram if it would have those features, but this one at $60K does not seem to have a plethora of safety equipment on it. But it does handle nicely, really smooth ride. Now this one does have massive 22-inch rims with low profile tires, so on the street, you know, it handles better than, you know, one that would have, say, 18-inch tires with a real tall sidewall. But this truck in this trim level with these wheels isn't really meant to do any kind of off-road excursion. But all in all, the interior is where it's at on this truck, for sure. Here's the Ram up on the lift. This one does have the optional towing package. It can tow 11,340 pounds. It also has a nice dual exhaust. Here's a look at the backup sensors and the trailer connectors. Around the side here, you can get a better look at the 22-inch wheels. That is a $1,295 option. Here's a look at the rear coil spring, which is unique to the Rams. Most trucks have a leaf spring in the rear. Tires are pretty wide, 285, 45, 22. Single piston rear caliper out in the back. Here's a better look at these goofy step boards. I don't really like them. Around the front here, you can see a dual piston caliper, same tire size up front. Here's a look at the front suspension, upper control arm, and the shock assembly. Around the front here, you can see the LED fog lights and front park aid sensors. Here's a look at the LED headlamp. No tow hooks on the front of this guy. Now we're going to check out the undercarriage. As you can see, the lower control arms are aluminum, as well as the spindles. Here's the inner and outer tie rod end and shock assembly. You can see the camber is adjustable on the lower control arms. I like how they put holes in this cross member for weight savings. Over on this side, you can see the axle shaft there and the spindle. There's a front differential, front cross member. There's a catalytic converters, composite transmission pan. It's a transfer case. There's a two-piece design drive shaft. Back into the muffler. No skid plates on this fuel tank. Back into the rear differential. Here's a look at the lateral links and rear shock. And there's the coil spring for the rear suspension. This truck has a 392 ring gear in the rear end. That is an upgrade. Here's a spare tire. Coming from back to front, you can see the electronic rear brake calipers. The rear sway bar. Another look at that rear coil spring. Rear diff cover. Heading back up front, there's another look at that drive shaft. Here's a better look at the transfer case. 2-speed high and low 4-wheel drive. Here's the oil pan. This thing was a pain to change the oil on. You can see the oil goes right onto the sway bar. It makes a big mess. The oil filter is also really hard to get to, and the oil splashes down right onto the electronic steering rack. Here's a better look at the front calipers. So the oil filter's up there. I know it's hard to see, but it just sends oil all over the steering rack and makes a big mess. I've never seen this before on a truck. It has an electronic front air dam. Here's the motor for that. And that's it for the look of the undercarriage. So that pretty much wraps up this review of the Dodge Ram 1500 Laramie. I just can't stress enough how nice this interior is for a pickup truck. It is fantastic. The ride is really smooth with the coil springs out back instead of the leaf springs. You know, the tried and true 5.7 liter Hemi. It's got plenty of power and torque. I like the fact that it comes with the dual exhaust from the factory. So all in all, it's a pretty nice truck. The only downside to maybe picking a Ram over the F-150 or a Tundra is resale value. Like I showed you, this truck's stickered at 60 grand, and it's not even a year old, and we're selling it used for $38,000 with 24,000 miles on it. So that's really the big downside to the Rams currently. That may not be like that forever, but that's kind of how the auction is going right now. And the auction is what dictates the resale value of a vehicle, not Kelley Blue Book, not NADA, but the prices at the auction. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for checking out my channel. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure you follow me on Instagram. Check out my Facebook page. And if you're looking for some Pittsburgh Views merchandise, head on over to teespring.com. Have a great day.